Books and Booze, a bookish and wine and juice podcast from two book lovers who have never met. That is the power of the internet.
I'm Jade.
And I'm Chiara.
And today we're talking about reading out of your comfort zone.
So what does that mean for you?
It means anything that is not thriller.
Yeah, no crime fiction.
Oh yeah, I like crime fiction and mysteries.
Yeah.
And I guess true crime and stuff, but I, in the last couple of years, just have not been into, especially not fantasy or sci-fi, but I used to love romances and I just don't anymore, and so I would say that's out of my comfort zone now.
Yeah, I was going through my Goodreads today to answer some questions for another episode that we were prepping for, and I was looking to see how my taste in books has changed over the years. It's interesting to see, because I've been using Goodreads for so many years now, and it is interesting to see how now it's just pretty much all thrillers and crime.
Yeah, it takes over your life.
Yeah. So if you're not reading thrillers, what are you reading?
So I had a look. Have you ever gone onto a Goodreads and there's a section where if you click on My Books, you can go down and you can see your most read authors?
No.
Yeah, so you can actually track if you've done reviews and stuff. You can see, I think it's on the left-hand side of the page. If you click on My Books on Goodreads, you go down and it says My Most Read Authors. And I was really expecting mine to all be thrillers. But my top one is Colleen Hoover.
Oh, okay.
I've read 12 of her books. And the second one is John Green. So I was very surprised by that because it's two more contemporary kind of romancy books or authors.
Yeah.
And then it gets down to the third top one, which is Gillian Flynn. But yeah, the others are not in my normal genre whatsoever, and they're my most read authors.
I'm going to have to check that out next time. It'll be Karen Slaughter. I know. It'll be Karen Slaughter.
Karen Slaughter's up there with me too now.
What are you drinking today?
I today am having a, it's called the 2016 Saltram Pepperjack Shiraz. It's...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God, it's absolutely delicious. It's from the Barossa Valley in Australia. And
South Australia?
Yeah, so it's it's very peppery and spicy, and there's kind of a hint of anise in it, and there's blackberries and plums. It's really rich and a ruby red colour. I absolutely adore it, and I think it is possibly my favourite wine I have discovered so far in South Africa. Oh, in Australia. I've been doing that all day. I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been travelling.
Did you move? Did you move and not tell me?
Well,
we're not in Australia anymore, guys. We're in South Africa.
What about you? What are you drinking?
So mine, I was scouring the shelves for something very topical, and mine, can you see it? It's called The Killer.
Oh my God, that looks so cool. And it's white?
It's white, so it's a Pinot Grigio.
Okay.
It's an Italian wine, vintage 2016. And on the back it says, a love-struck Lothario, a femme fatale, the killer strikes again. One taste and you're captivated. An alluring perfume hints light florals and fruit. A story of passion and intrigue with a dangerously crisp finish.
Oh, I like it. How much was it?
I think it was about 14.
That's not bad.
Because I also bought a wine in a can.
I've seen these wines in cans. The girls from My Favourite Murder, one of them really likes wine in a can and everyone teases her for it.
It's really cute. It has flamingos on the can. I was like, I love it.
What bottle store do you go to? I want to go get some.
BWS.
Okay, I must go in. We've got a few here in Brisbane.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was really cute. I'll have to take a picture to show everyone, but I really liked it. I don't know if it tastes any good. And then the lady at the bottle-o was like, it's 8% in that bottle, so go slow. In the can. I was like, ooh, okay.
Oh, right. Okay.
Well,
that's pretty
strong.
hard, isn't it?
That's strong.
Okay, so if you're not reading thriller and crime books, what kind of genre do you tend to lean more towards?
Contemporary or historical fiction.
Okay.
Mainly contemporary. I don't read a lot of historical fiction because they're usually just so big and heavy and long and full of detail. And usually if I'm not reading thriller, I like something light and quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah, contemporary. A lot of contemporary.
So, like, what's one of your favourite contemporary authors?
So, I have a wide range. Like, I don't think I have one particular author that I really like.
Yeah.
So I picked 3 books today to talk about. So the first one I picked was The Sea of Tranquility by Katija Millay.
I've not heard of it.
Not heard of that one?
This happens with us so much.
Yeah, this one, I think about this book all the time. I really think I should reread it. Because it's not, when I say contemporary, it's never anything too light and fluffy. I don't think I read a lot of light and fluffy books. All the books I picked are still quite heavy and full of, big, strong plots and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, even when I was writing the synopsis for this one, I was like, oh, it even sounds like a mystery. So, the synopsis is, former piano prodigy Nastya Kashnikov wants 2 things: to get through high school without anyone learning about her past, and to make the boy who took everything from her, her identity, her spirit, her will to live, pay. Josh Bennett's story is no secret. Every person he loves has been taken away from his life until at 17 years old there is no one left. Now all he wants is to be left alone, and people allow it because when your name is synonymous with death, everyone tends to give you your space. Everyone except Nastya, the girl at the school who starts showing up and won't go away until she's insinuated herself into every aspect of his life. But the more he gets to know her, the more of an enigma she becomes as their relationship intensifies and the unanswered questions piled up. He starts to wonder if he'll ever learn the secret she's been hiding or if he wants to know. See, it even sounds like a mystery.
Yeah, it does. It definitely...
But it's not like a thriller mystery. So, there's obviously something that you need to know at the end of the book.
Yeah.
But this one is it's a lot deeper. It broke my heart, this book, and I was sobbing at the end of it.
Oh, really?
The writing is so beautiful. The characters are multifaceted. It's slow burning in the first half, but then it completely changes gears.
Yeah.
And I couldn't turn the pages fast enough to find out what was happening with these characters. It's just really good. I would say it's a YA contemporary.
Okay.
Because it is set in high school, but it's very mature content.
It sounds very interesting.
Yeah, and it's very highly rated on Goodreads.
Oh, is it?
By everyone that's read it.
I can't believe I haven't heard of it. This happens so much with us. You always seem to recommend these books. I've never heard of the authors. I've never heard of the books. It's quite exciting, though, that we have quite different taste.
A bit expensive, too.
Yes, unfortunately, I have not splurged on some of the books you've recommended just yet, but I do have something exciting to tell you. I was going to save it for later, but I downloaded Blindsided by Karen Slaughter.
Yeah, did you like it?
I'm busy with it now, and so far, I must say it's probably my favourite Karen Slaughter book I've read.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Her writing's gorgeous. It's very graphic and gory and gritty, but I am really enjoying it. So I'm taking your recommendations into consideration and just choosing the ones I know would probably be a good fit for me.
Well, I've already got 2 of the ones you recommended, so I'm in the middle of, well, not in the middle. I just started Good Me, Bad Me.
Ah!
And I'm waiting by the letterbox for you to arrive in the mail.
Okay. I mean, I gave both those books 5-star reviews, so we'll have to talk about them on another episode because I've got a lot to say about these books. But so one of the authors so I mentioned my most read author is Colleen Hoover, which is not thriller whatsoever. Although to me it kind of is, because it's real life thriller and drama, and it's full of suspense. And I think I had a thing on Instagram the other day saying oh, do you love or hate Karen Slaughter? Didn't you? Colleen Hoover. Didn't you say that you weren't a fan of her?
I've never read any of her books.
Oh. You're
Not one.
gonna rack up a huge bank bill, my love.
Mitch, chin out. Don't listen. Go away.
So, I'll tell you about my favourite Colleen Hoover. But now, before I do, I just want to say a lot of people find her books problematic and absolutely hate them because they think that they're full of misogyny and abuse and toxic relationships, and it's kind of like romanticizing manipulative and controlling relationships. But if you look past that, it's not at all. I mean, I think there's so much emotional depth to her books. They're super raw and real. They are really suspenseful, like I said, like a real thriller. It's all about a woman's self-worth and how she's in this situation where she feels undervalued and scared and she doesn't know what to do with her life and how to get out of this toxic relationship. But then it's about her bravery and how she gets out of it. And she makes mistakes, but that's what happens in the real world. So I just adore her books and how real they are. So to me, it's just all about making the girl not a doormat. And I do feel like some of her books get a bit too intense and occasionally cringy, and they are very sexual, like 50 Shades of Grey and especially Ugly Love, which is one of her books, but that one wasn't my favourite. My favourite Colleen Hoover book is a book called Too Late, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, or 5 goblets of wine, which would get me absolutely pissed. And she actually published this book under C. Hoover, so she didn't actually use her full name because it's so different from her others. It's a lot darker. It's probably the most dark and explicit novel that she's had come out so far. It's very twisted and disturbed, and there are major trigger warnings for rape and domestic violence, bullying, murder, drugs, and it's absolutely amazing. It made me queasy to read it, but it was so good. It's about this girl called Sloane, and she's a college student forced to stay in a toxic relationship with the biggest drug addict on campus called Asa, and this is in order to give her special needs brother the best life possible. So their relationship is super unhealthy, it's drug-ridden and abusive, and they befriend this guy called Carter who has an immediate attraction to Sloane, and suddenly everything is in danger, including their lives. And this book is all about multiple points of views, and she just like masterfully pulls off being in the mind of a psychopath, because with the multiple points of views you get in the mind of Asa, who's the drug addict and it wants to pretty much murder Carter and Sloane. And it actually reminds me a lot of You by Caroline Kepnes, which you've got on order at the moment, which I can't wait to see what you think about it. But I must say that this book by Colleen Hoover, it's hard to read, but it's amazing. And I must say that I've got all of Colleen Hoover's books, and the one thing I regret since my move to Australia is that I didn't bring with my Colleen Hoover books, and I had like literally a shrine of her books that were signed.
Oh, and you left it?
Yeah, but I'm going back in a few months, so I'll pick them up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my first author, and I think the reason I connect so much with Colleen Hoover's books is because I've been in a toxic relationship and a very abusive relationship, and I've been scared to leave and been unsure of what to do. So to be back in those situations, I wouldn't say it's nice, but I just relate to them on such a deeper level than I think the average person would. So yeah, I just adore her books.
Okay, I'll have to pick up a few. Yeah. I'll get a list from you of which ones you think are the best.
All of them.
A through Z, anything and everything.
She's like, an auto-buy author. She's everything and everything to me. Everything and everything. Yeah. What's another one of yours?
It's funny that you mentioned books that are, people say they're glorifying, toxic relationships and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because when I was going through, I had picked, the other one I picked, so the next one I will talk about is the Bronze Horseman. Well, I was going to talk about the Bronze Horseman, but I left it off because I wanted to do it for another day.
Okay.
But when I was reading about the Bronze Horseman, I saw all these people had changed their rating for the book because one reviewer said that the main relationship in it is very toxic and stuff like that. So all these reviewers changed their ratings from 4 stars or 5 stars down to 1 or 2.
That annoys me so much.
Well, because, I mean, if you enjoy it, it is part of life, you know. There are relationships that are like that, and it's not glorifying it per se.
No, it's
I don't know. I haven't.
Taboo.
Well, exactly right, but I never read that book and thought that the main relationship in the Bronze Horseman, he was abusive or anything like that. It's a book about Russians in World War II, I'm pretty sure, and I don't know. I don't remember it being an abusive relationship in the book.
Oh,
Maybe I'm wrong.
I haven't read it, so I'll have to get back to you on what I think. But if you don't think it was abusive or something, then you'll probably get a fright with Colleen Hoover's books because they definitely are.
Yeah, but like you said, that's real life. Sometimes people go through that, and sometimes it's cathartic to read it.
Yeah, I just found it so eye-opening, and it also made me feel not so alone with what I used to go through. You know, I had a complete narcissist in my life for a long time that used to hit me and beat me up and cheat on me with 8 women and do a lot of horrible things to me. And I've come a long way. And I guess, her books, they do make me feel really sad and very angry about how she's still in that situation where she's scared to leave, because I want to just run to this girl in the book and be like, I need to help you, I know what to do. And it's frustrating that she's still in that situation, and I'm reading it and I can't help but I know that it'll get there in the book. So I guess that's the only frustration I've got with them, but I was there once, so yeah, I love them. So, what other books did you...
So, the next one I picked was Tully by Paullina Simons.
Okay.
She is the author that wrote Bronze Horseman.
Okay, yeah.
But I picked Tully because I wanted to kind of stick with more contemporary books rather than delve into Bronze Horseman, because it is such a big book that I wanted more time to kind of talk about it. But Tully is a tough young woman from the wrong side of the tracks, and she's not always easy to like. But if Tully gives friendship and loyalty, she gives them good, and she forms an enduring bond with Jennifer and Julie, school friends from very different backgrounds. As they grow into the world of the 70s and 80s, the lives of the 3 best friends are changed forever by 2 young men, Robin and Jack, and a tragedy which engulfs them all. Against all odds, Tully emerges into young womanhood, marriage, and a career. At last, Tully has her life under control, and then life strikes back in the most unexpected way of all. So I went through my Goodreads for this, and for the first time ever, no one on my Goodreads list has read this.
Okay.
And that's never happened. I've never stumbled upon a book and I've been like, oh, no one's read it.
And it's quite a well-known author, isn't it?
Yeah, it's her first book.
Okay.
So this one's her debut, and it is probably one of my favorites of hers.
Yeah.
I love books about strong women going through hardships of life and how they interact with their relationships with friends, because I'm sure, as you know, relationships between women can sometimes be very complicated.
Yes.
And very hard and very, there's just landmines everywhere.
Besides us, we're good. So far, so good.
Well, I'd like to say, at this point in my life, I think I'm at a place where all my female relationships are very strong. But it's taken a long time to get to that. I don't even want to go there.
No, I agree.
But Tully is such a strong character, and she experiences so many hardships in her life, and she never stops fighting. But she's also one of the most frustrating characters I think I've ever read about in my life.
Oh.
It's not a book for everyone, but I really enjoyed it.
Okay. Why is she frustrating?
she just makes choices. You know, when a character makes stupid choices and you just want to scream at them and shake them by the shoulders. She's one of those.
It's like
she just
you just want to like throw the book across the room and like
no, what are you doing? Why are you doing that?
Yeah,
a little bit like that.
Okay, yeah, no, I get that.
But it's good. I really liked it.
Okay. Well, my next one, I think I had to mention, so because I looked on the authors I've most read, and the other is John Green, I thought that I would mention another John Green book. Now, I just have to say, so it's been a long time since I've read John Green or Colleen Hoover. I actually just finished a Colleen Hoover book so I'll talk about that for a second. So I just finished a Colleen Hoover book called All Your Perfects. It's one of her most recent books, and it's actually beautiful. It's been far too long since I enjoyed a Colleen Hoover book, and I think that the reason I loved that this book it punched me in the gut. Like, our main character Quinn catches her partner cheating on her with another woman, and I caught my ex cheating on me with 8 women, so it kind of really hit home for me. And the other woman's boyfriend catches them in the act at the same time, so that's how our main character then meets her future husband. So it's not really the most ideal situation to meet your future husband, but that happened. And then the book hops back and forth in time, from when they met and how their relationship flourishes to years later after they're married and having issues of their own. And I just love how this book like flits back and forth in time. It like breaks up the heartache that you experience for the main character into the happier times between them. And I think that unlike some of her other books, it's not based around an abusive relationship and romanticizing, as people tend to say, although I think that's bullshit. Like I said, I don't think it's romanticizing anything. It's just bringing it out in the open that these kind of relationships exist. But so this book, All Your Perfects, is more about like fertility issues and adultery, and it's much more mature content, and I actually really appreciated that because I feel like I've grown with Colleen Hoover as a reader. You know, like as through the years I've read her books about certain things, and now they're getting more mature.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's really, really great. And her books just have this ability to break you and heal you at the same time. And I don't know. So this book, it got to me a lot because, you know, if Mark ever cheated on me, I would walk away in a second, like after punching him in the teeth. But like, I wouldn't get how much
You're
I
warned,
loved
Mark.
him. Yes, he's warned. But it's because of what I've been through. So sometimes this book does irritate me like the rest of the books do, because these girls just don't know what to do, and they're in such a catch-22. And like, I just, you know, after what I went through in Spain, and like I was extremely depressed, and I weighed 39 kilograms, and I fucked my body up because I was just so stressed out about what had happened. I realise now I do deserve better, and I've got better. So I just want to tell these girls that they do deserve better. But yeah, I don't want to condone staying with someone who cheats because it isn't inspirational for any reader. But this book is about how this woman kind of figures out a way to trust her partner again after that. And, you know, the reason they had all these issues is because of their fertility problems. And it's very, very heartbreaking to read about it, but it's gorgeous. So like you, it's still heavier content than a normal fluffy light romance. But then I've got John Green, who like I usually give his books like a 3 or 4 star goblet of wine rating, and my favorite novel of his is Looking for Alaska, and that's oh, do you like that?
Yeah, I was like, oh, I hope she's gonna say Looking for Alaska.
Yeah, it's my absolute favorite book of his, and it's his debut novel. So the first book he ever wrote. And it's definitely my favorite. I almost gave it a 5-star review, but like, so I read this book 3 years ago, and when I first read it, I was thinking, oh, this book's way too young for me. I'm not sure. There's just something about it I'm just not really connecting with. But I persevered, and then when I got through it, I was like, wow, this book is actually, I walked away from it with something huge. Like, I couldn't really put it into words, but it gave me such an amazing message. And I think that if, no matter what stage of your life you're in, you could read it and relate to it in some way or another. And I just found it extremely powerful that, the whole thing about how do you get out of the labyrinth of suffering by forgiving. And I loved that message so, so much. So for those that don't know, this book is about a girl called Alaska who is an absolute emotional mess. She's very mysterious, she's a feminist, and she's a bookworm. And then this guy called Pudge, or Miles, leaves Florida in search of the great perhaps, and he goes to boarding school, which is where he meets Alaska, and he falls hopelessly in love with her and sweeps her into her chaotic world. And then this book, it's spine-chillingly good, and it stayed with me all these years. But I just have to give a shout out to that because it's not thriller, and I loved it, and that doesn't happen very often at all.
I love you.
And there's a reason. Hello.
Mark just said, I love you. He just got home from work and he's trying to be quiet, but he couldn't help saying he loves me. Love you too, sexy Aussie.
But there's a reason that John Green books are so well liked as well.
Yes.
They have nice stories, and they're heavy, but they're not too heavy.
Yeah, definitely. So is that your favourite John Green as well?
Yeah, I think so.
Looking for Alaska is just gorgeous, isn't it?
I like Paper Towns as well.
I did like that
but
one.
yeah, I think Looking for Alaska is my favourite.
I can't even remember if I've seen the Paper Towns movie. I'm hopeless with movies. Like I
haven't seen the movie.
I read like Everything by Nicola Yoon. Have you read that?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, it's like this girl that's like she's allergic to everything in the world, so she's got to stay in this like bloody bubble that her mother puts her in, and it's actually absolutely incredible. The mother turns out to be a bit psychotic and stuff, but it's how she falls in love with her next door neighbor, who she develops a relationship through like her bedroom window or something. But it's really stunning. Actually, it's a YA contemporary book, and I still haven't seen the movie for that, but I loved the book. It was really, really, really nice.
I find myself I don't watch movies very often.
Me neither.
Because I always just flick to the comfort of a TV show.
It's just so much quicker. You can like watch an episode half an hour,
22 minutes or 45,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you're done.
Yeah, and then you can still get to bed like reasonably early and not feel like, oh shit, I've just stayed up and watched like a 2 to 3 hour long video or movie.
Or you can binge watch 8 episodes and then go to work
and then you just like
hold your eyes open with toothpicks. What's wrong with you? Nothing.
Netflix.
The death of me.
Fuck you all.
I actually got a really good sleep last night, so I was very annoying at work today. I was very chipper.
Good.
And I think my colleagues wanted to kill me by the end of the day.
You deserve it.
But
I had a pretty great night's sleep too after Mark took me to this underground opera house last night. It was
cool.
amazing. They sang songs like Phantom of the Opera and it was just so good. So yeah, I had a fair bit of wine, jumped up onto the stage and started like bloody dancing with the opera singers and yeah.
Well, you're not in prison, so that's a good sign.
So yeah, needless to say, I had a good sleep too.
Starfished on the bed.
Yes, pretty much.
A little bit of drool.
Yeah. No, I'm not even going to say it. It's too embarrassing. What's your next book?
Firefly Lane by Kristin Hannah. So she's written like The Nightingale and
The Great Alone.
The Great Alone.
Yeah.
Which I'm like in the middle of.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't. Everyone loves it. And I am not seeing it.
Oh dear. What did you think of The Nightingale? Have you read that?
I did. I really liked The Nightingale.
Okay.
I thought that was really good.
I've not read it yet, but I've been wanting to, so.
I rate The Nightingale higher than I rate The Great Alone at this point in time.
Okay.
So it's sitting there on my Kindle, and I'm like, do I finish it? Do I not finish it? I'm not sure yet.
Really?
But this is Firefly Lane, which is, I don't think it's well known, but it's not one of her big ones. The Nightingale is obviously her really big one, because I think anybody and everybody has read that one.
Yeah. Well, I've not.
And it's another book with a character named Tully, so maybe I just like books with characters named Tully. I don't know.
If you end up having another child, call your daughter Tully.
Tully. Mitch does not like the name.
It's
I actually do really.
discussed.
I like it, and I'm like, well, we only ever have boys, so. But I'm like, oh, what if we have a girl and the name Tully? He's like, nope, hard no, nope.
Do you,
Maybe I'll wear him down. He didn't like the name Alex either, so.
do you think you're gonna try for another baby?
Maybe.
Ooh.
Yep. Maybe.
I want 3.
Me? Yes. Him? Not sure.
Oh, he says that now until he gets there.
So Firefly Lane is an epic exploration of the complicated terrain between best friends, one who chooses marriage and motherhood while the other opts for career and celebrity. The adventures of poor ambitious Tully Hart and middle-class romantic Kate Malarkey begins in the 1970s, but doesn't really get moving until halfway through the book, when Tully, who claws her way into the heights of broadcast journalism, discovers it's lonely at the top, and Katie, a stay-at-home mum in Seattle, forgets what it's like to be a rebellious teen. So this book examines the friendship of these two friends, and it spans the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, and the lives of the two friends. And I love, like I said before, I love in-depth portrayals of friendships. And I thought it was really moving, and the characters were really addictive, and I needed to know what happened in their lives. It's a beautiful story, and there's so much to it, and it's another one. I just broke down crying in parts of it, because it's beautiful and so sad and so moving, and I'm spoiler-free zone, I'm not going to say anything, but I really, really liked it.
Oh, I love it when those kind of, it just makes you cry and you can't help yourself but just get excited.
Hello.
Bye.
Hello. It's the power of good writing.
Yes. Mark's leaving me to podcast while he goes for a run, and he looks all sexy in his gym gear. Just give us a moment.
Pause recording, yeah?
Alright. So, do you have anything else to say about that book?
No, just all of these books are 5 goblets of wine.
Oh.
I didn't pick anything any lower. I loved all of them.
Okay. Good to know.
And they're books that have stuck with me. Like I'd go through my Goodreads and I'd be like, what is that book? Did I actually read it? But these ones aren't like that at all.
Okay. Yeah, so my last book outside of thrillers that I have to recommend is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. So I loved Outlander, like Jesus H. Roosevelt Christ. Jamie Fraser can just come and rescue me any day. My ex-boyfriend worked with Jamie Fraser and Diana Gabaldon and all of them. He filmed the 3rd season in South Africa of the TV show. And I was so upset and angry because I wasn't allowed to meet the author or meet the cast because it's against his policy at work, because he was just like doing the sound or whatever. But, he interviewed them every day and I was like, ah!
Oh,
so
that's not fair.
Well, have you read Outlander?
I haven't. It's on my shelf.
Yes, it's amazing.
It is on my shelf.
So let me tell you about Outlander first, but I will say that I've read 3 of the books in the series, so Outlander, Dragonfly and Amber, and Voyager, and unfortunately the other 2 I've read have not been anywhere near as good, but I did love Outlander. I gave it a 5 goblets of wine, and so it's set in 1945. Claire is a combat nurse and she's back from the war and she's reunited with her husband. They go on their second honeymoon to Scotland. She walks through these like standing stones, like these ancient stones, and then she gets like transported back in time, and to where like the Jacobite Rising was happening in Scotland, and she gets with Jamie Fraser, and then it's like kind of she's torn between her husband back in the future and now Jamie Fraser, this sex god of a Scottish man who is just amazing. And the whole book's like action packed and it's beautifully intimate and it's humorous to top it all off. And I just like, there were moments where I was just like, there's some rape scenes and it's quite grotesque here and there, but for the most part I smiled all the way through this book and I was laughing, and the historical elements are absolutely fascinating. And I'm not normally one for fantasy books, like obviously she goes back in time through standing stones, which is obviously not plausible, but it was, even though that was like a big thing, it seemed quite subtle, and I just really appreciated it. So I just loved that it helped transport me into the 1700s, and Outlander is just gorgeous, and it's not thriller at all. But then the second book, unfortunately, I only gave like 2 stars. It's like it's 38 hours on Audible, so it's a huge book. They're all huge, but I just felt like the second book had no sense of direction. It just kept like Claire and Jamie, the two main characters, they kept losing each other, and then like they were trying to change history, but I just kept getting so annoyed. But it does kind of end on a cliffhanger, so it made me pick up the next book called Voyager, which I was hoping would be better, but sadly I only gave that one like a 3 goblets of wine review. And I was
so slightly better, but not really.
Yeah, like I'll definitely pick up the 4th book eventually, but I think it's called Drums of Autumn. But I'm gonna have to be ready for it, I think.
You're not in a rush, yeah.
No, like I was really hesitant to pick up Voyager, but like there were things that redeemed it. Like the humor was back, the banter between Claire and Jamie was there, like their relationship is just so gorgeous to read about. The books are super well researched with history, and I just feel like maybe the 3rd book had too much action and drama in it. But if you ever have a chance to read Outlander, the 1st book, it's amazing.
Yeah, well, I have bought it because I know it comes highly recommended by so many people.
Yeah.
And I see the show on Netflix and I'm like, I want to read the book first.
Yes, you definitely should.
Yeah. So it's there. It's on my list, but...
it is huge. Like, I read it about 2-3 years ago, and I must say it probably took me about a month to read the first one, but also, I was busy with other things in life, but it is massive. And
you read other books at once, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, yeah, so that's about our books from different contemporary authors that we've enjoyed, I suppose, with a few batterings and slayings of others in between.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard not to go off topic, isn't it? You're like, oh, but there's this, and then
there's just so many bloody books in the world.
Oh, I know.
Book Tourette's.
Book Tourette's.
First it was Biblio Libido, now it's Book Tourette's.
And it sounds like we might be quite well read, you and I.
I think so.
Yeah, because even when I'm answering questions and stuff, I don't like to have the same books all the time. So I'm like, oh, well, I can do this one and this one and this one. And they're always genuine answers. Like, there are always books that I've loved, but I wonder if we'll ever run out of books.
I don't think so, somehow.
Yeah.
So we've got some questions from listeners. So I don't know if you've got any others, but I managed to get 3. So the first question was from Couch K187, and he or she said, have we ever picked up a book to read simply because of the blurb on the cover from an author that we like? And if so, have we ever been disappointed by the recommendation?
I don't think I do pay too much attention to that. Like, if I see Stephen King's recommended something and I'm in the mood for something really creepy, then I'm like, oh, well, you know, he knows his stuff. He's a creepy author.
He's a creepy dude.
If it says on the thing, this scared me, then I'll be like, well, okay.
Scared you.
Well, if it scared you, I've got no hope. I'm never sleeping again. Oh my god. My boss at work today told us the creepiest story. And I've just been thinking about it all day. I'm like, I don't want to go to sleep tonight.
What is it? Are you allowed to say?
She was saying how well, she hasn't listened to the podcast yet, so
Okay. Surprise!
Ellen, this means you have to listen to the podcast. She was telling us about how, like, her daughter came into her room and was like, Mom, I see someone at the window. And she was like, no, you don't. Just get into bed. And she's like, Mom, the person at the window is still there. And then she turned over and she's like, and then I saw the face. I saw what she was talking about. And I'm like, what did you do? She's like, I just turned around and, like, laid back under the covers. Because, you know, if you're under the covers, that's a fortress of safety. You're fine. You're fine under the blankets, right?
Yeah.
But now in my mind, I just see a creepy face at the window.
So, was it real?
She doesn't think so. She thinks, you know how sometimes the tree and the light will, like, hit things in a certain way and it'll just make it look like something?
Yeah, I get that a lot with reading crime books. Every bump and shadow, like, resembles something it's not actually.
Yeah. I do it all the time.
freak.
I hear noises and I'm like, okay, just fall asleep.
Mitch,
Fall asleep.
where's the
Fall
knife?
asleep. He sleeps through everything.
Yeah, Mark just snores and I'm just like,
Yeah.
ah!
Yeah. Yeah. Off topic again. But no, I don't pay too much attention to the blurbs by authors on a book because I tend to trust more through the Bookstagram pages that I trust and the good reviewers that I trust.
Yeah.
So if there's something that, like, Suspense Thrill has said is really good, I'm like, yep, okay, I will probably like that. We have similar taste.
Yeah.
Or Crime by the Book or Books and Beans. Like, they all have, like similar books to what I like, so I trust their opinions.
Okay. Yeah, I have sometimes gotten quite excited when I've seen a blurb from an author. So, for instance, Claire McIntosh, I've read all of her books. Have you read her?
Mm-hmm. I've read the one I see behind you.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I listened to that one on audiobook.
Not my favourite of hers, but I'll talk about her books in another episode too. But I've read all of them and I absolutely love her. But so she said that Anatomy of a Scandal by Sarah Vaughan was the best courtroom drama book that she's read since Apple Tree Yard. And I just, to be honest, I was super excited because, like, Claire blends thriller and crime together. So I was kind of hoping for something similar with Anatomy of a Scandal. But it was definitely more of just like a true crime novel, and it's like a high-profile rape case, a scandal in the world of the privileged. It wasn't bad, but I was just expecting something different, and it was just, to me, it was just a bit slow, and it wasn't nail-biting suspense. Her writing, though, like, enraptured me. She's very talented, so when I started reading it from the very first page, I was like, fuck, like, I just want to breathe in her words. She's absolutely amazing, but unfortunately, even though her writing was phenomenal, I didn't find the book very exciting, and my interest waned, and when it did, I just could not get it back. So, unfortunately, I picked that book up because of Claire's recommendation, and because of who Claire is as an author, I just thought that it would be maybe thriller and crime combined, whereas it's not.
Yeah.
But, that's just, that happens.
And I always find those blurbs say the same thing.
Mm.
Dark and twisty, dark and twisty, dark and twisty. If you liked Gone Girl, if you liked Girl on the Train.
I loved it.
Next Girl on the Train. I love this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't put it down. Yeah, and then you never know how genuine they are.
Yeah, I think they just want to get big names out there too. entice us to pick up the books, and then
Yeah.
we're like, oh shit, like it's not what I expected at all. So
Yeah, that's like this one, The Good Me, Bad Me. There's so many. I was looking at it. So on the front there's 2, but then in the first 2 pages, it's just full of little blurbs.
oh really? So I've got the hardback cover, which is signed by the author. I met her and she's amazing. But so are you finding the blurbs true? How far into the book are you?
I'm only about 30 pages in.
Okay. Honestly,
So I started it last night and I was like, oh, I'm really tired and I want to read this and really read it. So I was like, I'll pick it up tomorrow.
I really can't wait to hear what you think. Like, be honest, but I just loved it so much, and I can't wait to talk to you about it, but I'll wait until after you've read it.
Oh, Claire McIntosh.
Oh gosh, she does everything these bloody days. Like, what the fuck?
Well, she said, original and compelling, a sensational debut.
It is all of the above, but still not the most catchy and blurb in the world. But so our next question is from Lukove, and he or she, I'm guessing it's a she, said, "How do you define book porn?" But it's a hashtag that I use on some of my pictures. So how would you describe book porn?
Pretty pictures of books, right? Like anything that's visually stimulating that is about books, right? So a nice bookshelf or a nice stack of books or a nice cover art or...
It's like giving us a eyegasm.
A book boner.
a book boner. Fuck, we're gonna like create our own like dictionary. Book boner, bibliolibido, book Tourette's. This is amazing. If this doesn't become a thing, I don't know where my life is going.
That's the new hashtag. Hashtag book boner.
I love it. I actually love it.
Please, in any photos you take in the future, hashtag book boner.
Book boner. We own that. So, girl with the third eye, who has a phenomenal Instagram account, I must just say. I actually just saw one of her pictures the other day and was like, whoa, it's beautiful. She said, "What is a book written so badly you're befuddled as to how it was ever published?"
All right. This is really hard for me because something that I might not necessarily like, other people will love.
Yes.
Right? So, like, I wrote a few titles down that I just did not understand what people saw in them.
Okay. I'd laugh if it's one that I loved. I'd be like, hey.
And that's not to mean that like they're not great books, or it's just for me they didn't work. There was something in them that it didn't resonate with me. It didn't hit home. I couldn't relate to the characters. I couldn't relate to the story. I might have been reading it at a bad time. Like, I know sometimes when I read books when I'm pregnant, I just don't like them.
Okay.
And then I'll go back and read them after, and they'll be great. Yeah. And I wrote. There and these were really hyped books, so that plays into it too, because sometimes when you hear things and it's like, this is the best book ever, this is the best book ever, you read it and you're like, oh, okay. So The Little Coffee Shop in Kabul, The Shining Girls, and The Marsh King's Daughter.
I hated The Marsh King's Daughter. I haven't read the others.
There are so many other books of similar topics that I thought were done so much better. And I just thought the Marsh King's Daughter, it was boring.
Yep.
I quickly was trying to reach my reading goal last year. So these were books that, like, The Marsh King's Daughter was one of the books that I stopped halfway through. And I tried to finish it and I just slogged my way through it. And I did not enjoy it. I thought, Room was a lot better. Have you read Room?
By Emma Donoghue, yeah. Like, I started it, but I can't remember why I didn't carry on. I'm sure, I started it, but I think, isn't it, like, told from a child's voice?
Yeah.
So I think, I might be wrong because it's been a while, but I think maybe the audio version just irritated me a bit because it was The audio voice just bugged me too much. But I did enjoy what I read of it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, those were the ones for me. And other people, like I said, other people absolutely loved these books.
Yeah.
Like, but for me, I just couldn't get through them, or I just hated getting through them.
Well, yeah, like with The Marsh King's Daughter, I read it and I finished it, but like, to be honest, I felt like it got far too involved in the descriptions of living off the land and the hunting and how you can use a bear for grease and the plants you can eat, and it became more of like a survival book than it did a thriller novel for me, and that kind of it got a bit tiresome for me.
Yeah.
So I felt
very Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah, I just felt like the flashbacks to life in the marsh with her father, the main character's father, like distracted from the plot. So we already know that both the main character, Helena, and her mother escape the marsh, but yet the author is trying to like build the suspense for their escape, even when we already know they have escaped. And I'm just like, if this is not needed, get on with the actual story that is now about how the father's escaped from prison. And
she's trying to catch him.
Yeah, like, it just seemed a bit strange, not that well thought out to me.
Yeah, it was very flat.
Yeah, I didn't... I gave it like a 3-star review, and I think I was a 3 goblet of wine review, but I feel like maybe I was a tad generous with that.
Generous.
Yeah.
Mine, I think, was 2 or 1, or... yeah, I just really didn't enjoy it. And, are you a harsh reviewer or an easy reviewer, do you think?
Well, so I never really thought about it until Mark was like, Jesus Christ, Jade, like, you are so harsh. And I've got this review up on my Booktube channel about reviewing It by Stephen King, where I pretty much slated it. And Mark was just like, no wonder you get hate mail almost every day because you are so harsh. And I didn't even think about it until he told me. But so like I do feel bad for giving bad reviews, but I've got to be honest, and I want to be honest with other people that might pick up these books on my recommendations or not. So I am very blunt and harsh, but I do apologize if it comes off as offensive to both the authors and to other readers that enjoyed it, because this is just purely personal opinions and I'm entitled to share my opinions. So if it's a book that I don't enjoy, it doesn't mean that others aren't going to enjoy it themselves.
Exactly right, which is what I had said before. Just because it's not to my personal taste doesn't mean that, and just because I loved it doesn't mean that everyone else is going to love it.
Yeah.
Because everyone approaches things differently. I saw a Bookstagrammer actually put up a story. Did you see it the other day? She got a really abusive comment from someone on her page saying, people must buy your reviews because I read this book and it was utter garbage. And she was like, no, I always review with integrity. These are not paid for reviews. I genuinely liked the book. And I thought, why would someone even bother doing that?
And they like unfollowed her as well. And they were like, I was so disappointed, I'm unfollowing you. That was Crime by the Book. Abby.
It was, I thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, and Abby, so I said to her, I wrote to her and I said, look, like sometimes, your books aren't for me. But other times they are, and I still completely trust and respect your decisions and your opinions on all books, because, like, if we were all the same, it would be so fucking boring.
Exactly, and you are not going to like exactly the same books as every single person every single time.
Like, she's a huge Jo Nesbø fan, whereas, I mean, I've only read, I think it's only been one Jo Nesbø book, but I wasn't the biggest fan of it, although, like, when I think about the actual storyline afterwards, I'm like, I actually quite enjoyed it, or the storyline, but I don't know, like, I think I just need to spend more time with an author before I give, an opinion on them. Like, I need to read 2 or 3 of their books to be able to make a judgment.
And that's Nordic noir as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is quite a different genre again.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, because there's a lot that I see those girls review. There's Jo Nesbø, and Sarah. I don't know how they say her last name. Bladel, yeah. And I think I've read one Jo Nesbo or two. My sister-in-law loves Jo Nesbo.
Yes.
And I need to pick it up. I think he wrote a book, I think it's called Headhunters or something.
Okay.
And it's about like a recruiter, and we work in recruitment, so it kind of went all around our office, and it was a bit of a funny thing. Yeah, you can't like the same book as one person every single time, 100% of the time.
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
I feel like Abby and I, like the girl from Crime by the Book, we do have similar tastes sometimes, but at other times there's books that to me are just far more crimey and atmospheric, whereas I prefer the dark suspense, and she loves that too, but I'm like, sometimes the books she chooses are just a little bit not for me. And that's fine. I still love her, and I'm not going to stop following her because there's one book that she's like.
You're not going to curse her out about it and make her feel shitty.
Ridiculous.
Like, that's not fair.
Oh, like the other.
Be kind. We need to be kind to one another because it's.
Yeah. Like she's like me. She takes photos with like legs and books and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And on her Instagram, and someone apparently sent her a message saying, "Oh, you've got really like big knees, ew." And I was like, fuck them.
Big knees? What a random insult. Who has big knees?
Give a shit. Like, go like look after your own bloody knees, you motherfucker.
She must have like really spindly little dainty knees.
Yeah, like how shit must your knees be to like mock everyone else's?
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting off track.
Anyway, we're on your side. Crime by the Book, Abby. I saw that and I thought it was just. There was another one that I saw. I don't know. I can't remember her name, but she posted. She like because they screenshot it and they put it in their Instagram stories, and she wrote to this girl, and she said, "You'd be so much prettier if you covered up those bags under your eyes." And I was like, that is horrible. And so this girl is like, I actually have I think she said she's got an autoimmune disease or something like that. And, she was just talking to the camera. Like, she doesn't think she needs to be made up to talk to the camera.
No, you don't. And I think when people say stuff like that, even if people say, geez, you're putting on a bit of weight there, or you're a bit too skinny, love. Like, they don't know what you're going through personally.
No, exactly. So, and it cut too deep.
Yeah, so unless you're a doctor, shut the fuck up. Like, leave us alone and let us live our lives.
Yeah. We're here for the books.
Yes, we're here for whatever we want to be talking about. Stop trying to make it about our physical presentation when that doesn't matter.
I know I'm not Megan Gale, okay? I wake up every morning with myself.
Yes, I wake up every morning and I don't know why Mark is still with me when he looks at me. But yeah, he still makes me coffee and gives me a kiss before he goes to work. And I'm like, yeah, I knew this would happen. One day someone would love me for me.
And all the books that goes along with that.
Yeah, I think he's getting a bit scared. Every day he comes home and he sees more books piling up on the floor. And he's like, oh, God.
Nothing to see here.
No. So on to back to that question, which was a book written so badly it befuddled you as to how it was ever published. Do you know a girl called Carrie Hope Fletcher? She's like a YouTuber. She's very well known in especially the UK, I think. But like I said, I hate giving bad reviews, but I have to be honest. So this book, it's called On the Other Side, and our main character is 27, but also she's 80, as the book kind of flits between being an old woman who's passed away, but she can't get into heaven because her soul is too heavy. So she returns to her younger years at age 27, which is my age now, to release the burdens that she carries. And that premise actually sounds really good, and it had so much potential, but it tried so hard to be diverse. It had pansexuality bisexuality, homosexuality, heterosexuality. It was just like really inelegantly done, and like there was too many subplots too. You know, there was adultery and miscarriages and forbidden love. It was just it was all over the place, and it had no consistency. And I I just felt like I was reading a children's book. Like, for instance, all of the characters' names were named after the weather or a season. So the characters' names would be like winters, summer, autumn, snow, white, shine, petal. It got ridiculous, and the metaphors got tiresome, and the magical realism element was just too much. And how this book got published is beyond my comprehension, and I feel so bad for having such a rant about it, but it's the truth.
No, I haven't heard of that one.
Sorry, I just like went on a tangent there. I was just like, rah!
Don't think I'll be picking it up.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Like we said, we're honest, and other people may have loved it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people loved it, but they also love her. And I think that sometimes if there's like a figure in the world that you really admire, it affects your review of their book. Where
it colours it, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't find that fair, because, you know, the literary world, there's just too many shite books out there, and I love being able to find the good ones, so I've got to give my real reviews.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that wraps up the reading out of our comfort zone side of things, or do you have anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Good. So then we've got our Boozy Banter.
Boozy Banter.
My favourite part. This actually requires me to pour another glass of wine. So I'll be back in about 10 seconds, but carry on talking. I'll be able to hear you.
Okay, so I am going to start with what I read, because I did a lot more reading than anything else this week, which is always a good sign. So I started and finished, since the last time we talked, Scrublands by Chris Hammer. I am not going to talk too much about this, because he is actually coming to record with us next Monday.
So excited.
So exciting. I just want to leave everybody with this. I rated it 5 goblets out of 5 goblets.
I saw that today on your Goodreads.
And I am so excited to talk to him about this book, and I think everybody needs to read it. I have been recommending the shit out of this to everybody. I'm like, read it, read it, read it. I actually have my cousin Amy. She is like, bags, I'm going to read it first. So I'm like, yep, okay, I'll take it to you when I see you on the weekend.
The publishers actually accidentally sent me a second copy of this book, so I was thinking we could host a giveaway with my second copy.
Ooh, that sounds like a good idea. What do we want people to do to enter in the giveaway? I think it should be anyone who listens to the podcast, so we're not going to announce it on our Instagram. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it should be purely for those that listen this far in and actually really care about us.
An hour and 3 minutes in. If you're still here, you can win this book.
Yes, so all you've got to do is email us if you've gotten this far and be like, hey, I'd love to win a copy, and one of you lucky listeners will get an email back from us. What do you think? Or should they have to do something else too?
Maybe DM us on Instagram, because we don't have our email address set up yet.
Yeah. So DM us on our Instagram, which is booksboozpod. We'll leave all our handles at the end of this video too.
And you just need to message us and say, I want to read Scrublands.
Yes, I want to read Scrublands, and then we will know.
Then we will know that you have made it this far and listened to us ramble.
Thank you for sticking with us.
I also finished reading The Butterfly Garden by Hutchison.
I really want
and I rated that 4 goblets of wine.
Okay.
And I think it's probably not fair, but I loved Scrublands so much that it probably... Do you know when you read something so good that you're like, nothing compares to you?
Yes. Yeah, no, I
but it was really well written. It's a creepy book. It has a great balance of light and dark. It's one that, like, even the most seasoned crime reader, I reckon, will get the creeps from.
Okay.
So the synopsis, I don't know. I mentioned it last week, but I don't know if I mentioned the synopsis, but I'll just do the brief one. In a beautiful garden grows luscious flowers, shady trees, and a collection of butterflies. Young women who have been kidnapped and intricately tattooed to resemble their namesakes. Overseeing it all is the gardener, a brutal, twisted man obsessed with capturing and preserving his lovely specimens.
Okay. Yeah, I actually I downloaded it on Audible, so I am very excited for it. Hopefully, I can find a physical copy too. So I am very much looking forward to that one from your recommendation.
One of my favourite book besties recommended it to me, a girl I went on Kentucky with, Rachel.
Yeah.
And we always share books together. So she's like, read it. I'm like, okay, on it. Yep.
I love that. My time in Kentucky, I met some friends for life there, definitely as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's such a great way to just like make your family outside of your family.
Yeah. Did you have lots of Aussies?
Yeah.
Ours was all pretty much Aussies and Canadians. It was very good.
We had, I think it was 2 Aussies, and yeah, I probably shouldn't talk about them, but Mark knows about it. But yeah, Kentucky's a bit of like a what do you call it? Like it's just free for all sex trip.
Yeah, we had none of that because we were married.
Oh well, that's
so Mitch and I went together.
So I was a lot more untame, and I was young and free for the first time after a very abusive relationship. But I was like, yeah, I'm free, motherfuckers.
We were old and boring.
Okay, yeah, no, I had some fun. So I was first with this Aussie dude called Damien, who was lovely, but like he was too shy. And then halfway through the trip, this English bloke came in. And I just jumped ship, abandoned ship, and went for this English guy. And it was like the scandal of the Kentucky tour. But Mark knows all this, so he'll be fine with it. But yeah, it was quite funny. But yeah, we're all still friends today, and it's years and years later, so it all worked out for the best. All right, so I've been reading quite a few books, and I think we should record more often because otherwise I'm going to have too much to bloody talk about. So the first book that I finished was A Noise Downstairs by Linwood Barclay, and this was sent to me by Hatchet Australia. I gave this book a 3.5 glasses of goblets of wine.
Yeah.
It's about this guy called Paul who is out driving one night, and then he recognizes his co-worker. So he follows him because he realizes there's something kind of really wrong with this guy's driving. He's maybe drunk or there's something wrong. So he follows him, and when he stops, he discovers 2 dead bodies in the back of this guy's car. And then this guy tries to kill him. So many months later, this guy's now put behind bars, and Paul is recovering, but he's really struggling. So like during the day, therapy really helps him, but at night he starts hearing things that can't possibly be real, and it's really creepy. Like, so the other day I was saying on the podcast, actually, I was saying how much I would really appreciate a thriller book written more so about a man in strife than a woman, because I find that all these thriller books are just getting so repetitive these days. Like, that it's becoming a bit of a stereotype. Like, oh yeah, it's about the woman. Yeah, it's always about the woman in trouble, blah blah blah, and it's getting fucking
damsel in
boring.
distress.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this book is not about that at all. It's about this man, and it was just so refreshing. So it's like this book is just full of red herrings and subplots and twists and turns, but it's so tastefully done, and it's got this spine-chilling paranormal element to it that I absolutely loved it. And it's a very compulsive and entertaining read, but it's very slow-paced, and I think it could have been a bit creepier, which is why I only gave it like 3.5.
Okay.
But I did really, really enjoy it, and I think especially if you're newer to the thriller and crime genre, then maybe this is a pretty good book to start with because it's quite easy and it unfolds very slowly for you. And then the second book that I just finished, and I bloody loved it, was Believe Me by J.P. Delaney. So J.P. Delaney wrote The Girl Before, and I adored that book. So I was...
I haven't read it.
You have not? Oh my god. Chiara, you need to... I'm sorry, Mitch, I'm sorry. Your wife is not going to have any money left. But this happened. I'm just going to recommend you so many books.
I got a message from my best friend Beck, and she goes, I'm on the treadmill, I'm listening to your podcast, how have you not read You? And I was like, I didn't even know it was a thing. I never heard about it before. She's like, get on it.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm so excited to see it. I have no doubt that you're going to love it, but I am excited to hear your personal thoughts. So, The Girl Before is brilliant, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about this book that I just finished because it's more in my mind than the other one. So, it's just such an amazing book because it's about this girl called Claire, and she's this like struggling actress in New York. She's British, so she doesn't have a green card, so she can't really work and earn money. So she takes these like kind of like dodgy jobs. So she then gets this job as like a decoy for this divorce law firm where she's got to like stray husbands from their marriage in order for the wife to get divorced, but the wife thinks that they're cheating anyway. So it's all kind of, it adds up. And then when one of her guys that she tries to entice winds up in this like murder case, she has to then go with the FBI and try and like encourage him to tell her the truth. So she's got to like sell herself to him as someone that loves him and wants to be with him and get him to open up to her. And it's just absolutely amazing. There's like a very big theatre element to the book, and it just made the whole thing come alive for me. Like our main character Claire, she's just got such a passion for the stage, and it's captivating. So like I loved how like she's an actress and she throws herself so deep into her roles that throughout the book we just have no idea what is actually happening and you know what's real and what isn't. So it's really clever and refreshing from all the unreliable narrators that we read these days. You know, she's not drunk, she's not on medication for the most part, but like with Claire, it's just her and it's her acting and it's who she is. So it's just so different and fun. And like, yes, it was a bit unbelievable, but there were so many like plausible little parts in it that kind of made the whole thing tied together. And yeah, like just like The Girl Before, it was really engrossing and the chapters were really short, which makes it really fast to read. It's unpredictable, it's chilling, it's super erotic, it's dark, and it's just, oh, I loved it so much. And I'm sorry I'm rambling too much, but this book kind of centers around this poet called Baudelaire from France or Paris, and his words are in this book and they're super demonic and grotesque, but they draw you in just by like the sheer perfection of the writing. So he like snips the boundaries from the world of poetry and he allows you into this like gritty mind of someone who fantasizes about really disturbing and taboo things. And I just, I get why a lot of people might get angry and disgusted by this book for it, but I just think that it was beautiful. And yeah, I must say there's one major trigger warning for self-harm. So the author really doesn't shy away from thoughts that run through your head when you're in that moment, like where you're about to cut yourself, and then it goes straight to the part where you like slice the blade through the skin. It's pretty hectic, but it's amazing and I loved it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Sorry, I just can't stop when I get started on a book. What else have you been doing? Like, have you been watching anything or?
So, like I said, I've been doing a lot more reading than watching anything, but I did watch a movie on Netflix. It was called Like Father. Have you seen that? It's got Kelsey Grammer and Kristen Bell.
No, but I like Kristen Bell.
I love her. I love her. I follow her anywhere. I think I've watched everything she's ever done.
Yeah.
So this popped up and I was like, oh, do you know what? I'll watch it. And I really liked it. I thought it was a really good little movie. It's Kristen Bell's character is left at the altar, and the night after her wedding, she's out drinking with her estranged father, and she ends up inviting him on her honeymoon cruise.
Ooh.
So she hasn't talked to her father in years and years and years and years. He rocks up at her wedding as her fiance is saying, nope, don't want to get married. And so her and her dad go out drinking. She invites him on the cruise. And yeah, it's very, very good little film. I liked it.
Okay.
And then the other thing, I watched this a little while ago, but I wanted to mention it again. I watched it with my sister and Mitch. It's a stand-up comedian, Iliza Scherzlinger.
Okay.
And it was called Elder Millennial, and it was so funny. We laughed our asses off. It was hilarious. She's very funny. So if you're in the mood for stand-up comedy, that is a good option.
Yeah, so we'll have to leave that in our show notes, and maybe it's something
Yeah.
we and Mark can watch together.
Yeah.
We need a good laugh.
Yeah. Everything we've mentioned today will go into our show notes, and then we'll also do the Instagram posts that we always do, full of pretty pictures.
Yes. So yeah, like you, I haven't really been like watching much. Like besides my MasterChef show, I watch the MasterChef Australia, and Mark kind of loves it because when he gets home, I'm normally like experimenting with something in the kitchen, and he's like, "Oh, awesome!" So it's good. But yeah, I haven't actually really been watching much. Although the other day we had some friends over. They wanted to come and steal some of our chocolate, so we went to the driving range first, which was actually awesome because I didn't realize that I could play golf, and apparently I can because I'm a bit of a natural. So that was really fun. And then
You can play with Mitchell.
oh yes, is he
Yes.
a golfer?
He is a golfer. He loves golf.
I'd say I might not be at that level yet, but I had a few hits that were pretty good. So afterwards, my friends came over to have some chocolate because they were craving it, and we decided to just like put something on TV, and they couldn't decide what to watch. So I was like, oh well, there's this show called Disjointed on Netflix that I'd watched the first episode so long ago. And I'd just, like, I think I'd only watched a little bit of it, so I was quite excited to watch it again, and it's hilarious. So it's like, it's all about this, like, pot activist called Ruth, who runs, like, a medical marijuana dispensary, and she just, like, wants to chill out and get high on life, and it's so brilliant, and there's such a good actress in it. I'm trying to remember her name. She's in, like, American Horror Story.
It's Kathy Bates.
Kathy Bates, yes.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures.
It's so, so good. And, like, we just had such a good time, and we all laughed. Like, it would be better if you were, smoking pot and watching it. But obviously, that didn't happen. But we had chocolate, which is almost as good. So, yeah, we did that. And then, besides that... I already mentioned like the underground opera house that Mark took me to, which was amazing. But on another note, I guess like I can say my body is really sore because I went to a spin class, and it's horrifying. Yeah, like I think so. It's just getting me there that's the hard part, because like once I'm there and it's over, I love it and I feel so good and I'm like ready to like start the day and stuff, but like just getting me there is a bit of a mission, because like I'd so much rather just stay in bed and keep warm and have a coffee, but then I'm just gonna get fat. And so on another note, we sold our first t-shirt, our Bookish podcast t-shirt, so yay. I'm very excited about that. And our shirts, we've decided, are going to be $22 plus shipping anywhere in the world. They are awesome. It's got our Books and Booze logo on it, and it's in a premium soft fabric. So go and order yourself a shirt in your preferred size, because we just get so excited hearing that you want to support us and wear our shirts and stuff like that. It's just so nice.
And we're also making mugs and wine glasses, but they are in testing phases with Jade and I doing the testing.
Yes,
Very, very hard, laborious testing.
Yes, we need to drink coffee and wine in them first. Give them some washes and make sure they, stay on the logo side of things and they don't rub off or anything. And we've got to drink a lot of coffee and wine for this. It's a good experiment.
So as soon as they're ready, we will make them available for purchase, and we will be making some bookmarks too, probably.
Yes, I'm very excited for those.
Yeah, everyone needs bookmarks. I always lose mine and then use like receipts and whatever, scraps of paper.
Oh, I'm
fine.
I'm terrible. I dog ear my books.
I do too.
I thought you were going to shit on me for a second.
No, I get so frustrated when people are like, don't dog ear pages. I love seeing someone's journey in a book.
Yeah.
I love seeing like highlights and underlines and written in the margins and cracked spines and a little bit of like water warp and all that sort of stuff. I think it makes a book.
Exactly. It's got a history.
Yeah. No, I am no judgment zone here. However you want to read a book, you can read a book.
Okay, good. Well, the last thing I've got to say for this episode, I think, a few things actually. Sorry, I just can't shut up today. But the one is that we got our first Patreon pledge that is not from Mark or Chiara. So we got someone from outside of the family that is she's donated a lovely little donation to us, and her name is Jennifer Burkhardt. So I just want to say a big thank you to her for just helping us make our dream of working with books and sharing books with you for a living come true.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, every penny helps. So we really appreciate that. And we also have a few people that have left us reviews on iTunes that I just wanted to say thank you to. So we've got Naz1313. If you know any of these people, please tell me.
Thanks, Mum.
Is that your mum? So we've got Naz, Chiara's mum, and I'm guessing this is your sister, Illy90.
Thanks, sis.
Thanks, guys. And then we've got Jade1292, which I swear is not me.
Which is not Jade.
What?
It's not you, because we have actually been chatting to Jade. She popped up in our DM. She was talking to us about something, and I was like, oh, so it's not you. Because when I first saw it, I was like, how funny. Then I was like, oh, same numbers, not you.
No, Jade's real. So Jade has left us a review, and yep, I love her name, and I love her for sending us a review, so thank you very much.
Where are the Chiaras? Any Chiaras, please leave us some reviews.
Yeah.
If there are any Chiaras that listen to this podcast, please say hi.
We also have 2 people from the US of A that have left us reviews. We've got Muffin Balls and Novel Thrills and Chills. So these, I think, Novel Thrills and Chills I know is definitely on Instagram, and she's got a lovely
she's got a gorgeous Bookstagram.
Yeah.
Yep.
So those 2, all these people left us 5-star reviews, and we, I think both of us teared up when we saw them.
I did, yeah. I was at work. I was like, oh my God, don't cry at work. That's embarrassing.
It's so lovely. It makes us feel so good about this big venture that we're taking, and we've got these beautiful business cards, we've got the shirts coming and the mugs, and Mark's like, oh, aren't you going a bit fast? And I'm like, no, this is what I want to do, Mark. Stop it.
It's happening, Mark.
Yeah, it's happening. But sure, he's just trying to ground me, and I get that. But,
yeah.
And then we also have, so I reviewed us, obviously, because I had to. But also Yaku, a friend of mine from South Africa, he gave us a 5-star review as well. And I just want to say thank you very much to him. He's got a beautiful baby boy. And I'm just so appreciative of every single person that has left us a review on our podcast so far.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Yes. So where can people find us, Chiara?
Yep. So we are on Twitter and Instagram. We are at BooksBoozPod. Jade is boho_bookworm. I am bookish.kiki. We also are setting up a Facebook group, and that is Books and Booze, a bookish podcast. We haven't done much over there at the moment. We're just working more on the Instagram and the Twitter side of things.
Yep.
But we want that space to be somewhere where you guys can talk to each other and recommend books and find out what you like and set up mini book clubs and buddy reads and all that sort of stuff.
I've never been very good at the whole Twitter thing, so I think like Instagram is probably our main hub.
Yeah.
But like when I can figure out Instagram more, I mean not Instagram, Twitter and Facebook and all that.
We like the GIFs.
Yeah, we'll figure it all out as we go. It's all like kind of a learning process, but it's been very fun and exciting, and I'm just very excited to watch our beautiful idea grow.
Yeah, and we love talking to you. We love when you comment and leave us thoughts and musings and chat about your favourite books and answer all our fun questions and ask us questions.
Yeah, we love, because whenever you guys leave us questions, we like to, shout you out and answer your questions on our channel like we did today. And yeah, we just want to continue that. So don't forget to just ask us some questions, and don't forget about the Scrublands book that you can win if you can remember what you have to say to us.
Yep. I want to read Scrublands.
Awesome. So I think that wraps up this episode.
Yep. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe, please.
We love you all. And
Bye.
I love you, Chiara, because you're such a good co-host. Bye.
Bye.